Okay. I know it's very early in the show's run. I know you're probably like seeing the title and being like, what the fuck? Why'd you do that? It's great. But I've decided to drop Darling in the Franxx. I gave it the good old 3 episode Digibro test, and all 3 episodes were bland. The characters were not interesting. In fact, some of them were very annoying, except for one, which I'll obviously talk about. You probably know who. And I just didn't enjoy the plot, as it was very derivative and not enjoyable. And I wasn't gonna like each 22-minute episode felt like such a drag, and it just like it was a chore to watch and chore to keep up with. So I'm like, why would I continue this show? So verdict on that, I dropped it. Now let's get into the show itself. Now that I've talked about why I've dropped it and why I'm not going to continue it. Um, Darling in the Franxx, as I've discussed probably in other videos, is a collaborative effort between Studio Trigger, my favorite anime studio, and what am I blanking? A1 Pictures, which is my least favorite anime studio. So this could go completely either way, and sadly it went the either way. And a lot of the flaws aren't even A1 Pictures' fault. Like, it has some of the strengths of A1 Pictures, like gorgeous character designs. Like, every single character design is absolutely phenomenal. The art and the animation is beautiful. And, like, the mech designs in this show are some of the best mech designs I've ever seen. Like, I would love to have figures of those. They're so good. Like, so don't get me wrong, this series has a lot of pros, and but the cons just far outweighed it. So essentially, what this is Studio Trigger is essentially like they've been doing this a lot. They were trying when they were just members of Gainax, they made a lot of like phenomenal 10 out of 10 shows, namely Gurren Lagann, which is my favorite fictional work of all piece of media of all time. So yeah, they made a lot of fantastic shows, and one of the shows they made in the 90s, obviously Neon Genesis Evangelion, super popular show, one of the most famous anime of all time. I think it's a bit overrated, but I still watched the whole thing, so that gives you any answer. It's a 26 episode show, I believe. So yeah, so I watched all of Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I feel like Trigger is essentially trying to answer or trying to replicate the like there are a lot of their shows that they did while they were with Gainax. Like their answer to Gurren Lagann back when they were with Gainax was Kill la Kill when they first started their own studio, which Kill la Kill was another 10 out of 10. But yeah, and then like I feel like with this they're trying to essentially replicate the Neon Genesis Evangelion feel and narrative, and it like Ava, although I do say it overrated, I can't admit it that it's groundbreaking, fantastic, some of the best characters ever in anime. But they just kind of take the base bones formula of Ava, this kind of mysterious, weird. You have the wimpy protagonist that doesn't want to do anything. You have the bit kind of bitchy girl that tries to like motivate him and get him to do shit, but is also kind of selfish in her own right. And you have essentially mechs fighting these weird invading creatures that you know nothing about, and you don't know anything about them. You have this weird organization in this dome, this city underground. It's essentially just Neon Genesis Evangelion, but bad. Like, that's my best way to describe it. Like, it's just like the main character is so boring and so baseless and so lackluster, and it's just essentially just a cut out for like a protagonist. It's like insert protagonist here in the script, and they never inserted it. Like they never wrote a character. I mean, obviously, I'm only judging by 3 episodes, so I can't really say on that default. But then you have arguably the shining beacon of this show, 02, who you've obviously, if you're in any Twitter or any Tube or any anime communities in any capacity, you've seen 02. I'm not going to deny she's like one of the hottest anime characters in a while. One of the best anime characters in a while. She's essentially just the best thing about this show, and she's essentially just a hybrid of Asuka from Ava and Neo from Ruby. If you combine the two characters and their personality, mannerisms, behaviors, the way they act, visuals, they're essentially that hybrid is essentially 02. So she's fantastic, obviously. I mean, the best part of the show by far. But one character that's amazing isn't enough to make up for a shitty show. to be quite honest. And obviously, it's probably going to get very better. But the fact that it was very hard for me to sit through 23-minute episodes, like, that was a chore in itself. And it was like, oh, I guess I got to catch up with Darling and the Franxx. Imagine me watching a 24 episode. This is a 24 episode show. Like, if it was 12, I would stick it out. I honestly would. But the fact that I have this daunting 24 episodes that I have to keep up with, 24 weeks that I have to keep up with Darling and the Franxx, is just, oh God, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? I just don't want to do it. And if it's my hobby, watching anime is my hobby. It's not my career. Like, if I don't want to do it, why would I do it? So yeah, I'm not watching Darling and the Franxx anymore. I mean, maybe I'll pick it up again. I never say never with anime. Maybe I'll pick it up again if I hear great things. But as of now, I have absolutely no incentive, and hope I was able to explain why I dropped it, even though it's one of the most popular shows of the season. There's a lot to love. I mean, the animation's gorgeous, the mech designs are amazing, and Zero Two is a fantastic character. But everything else is just derivative. It's like they're trying to recreate Ava, but missing the point of Ava. Essentially, they're like trying to recreate Ava without the core, without the soul, and without and it's just not working for me. And obviously, if it might go very different, it might get different, it might be better, but I'm not gonna waste my time with it for now. So yeah, that's why I dropped. Darling and the Franxx. That's my thoughts on episodes 1 through 3.